What is your name?
My name is Nicky Endress.
Welcome, Nikki. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Would there ever be a time you would be upset if someone asked what pronouns you use?
No.
Okay. What pronouns do you use or accept?
All of them, actually. When I refer to myself, I use they, them, but I accept any.
How long have you used specific pronouns or all of the pronouns?
Ooh, I guess since officially coming out as non-binary trans. So, 4 years or so.
Specific times or places that you would prefer certain pronouns?
I guess because I'm in the entertainment industry, depending on what I'm selling, at whatever event, um, that I'd be going for a certain kind of presentation, and I would prefer pronouns to reflect what I'm aiming to portray.
Which pronoun should I refer to you as today? Or would you accept?
They or she is fine. I'm
Okay.
pretty femme today.
All right. Tell me a little bit more about your journey to using your pronouns and maybe describe what your childhood was like and what led up to now.
Oh, interesting. When I was maybe 3 or 4, I just declared I was a girl boy. And I was told that there was no such thing. And I believed it. So I am genetically male. And so I was raised as a boy conventionally. Of course, because I'm unconventional. I was always just a very feminine boy and very stereotypically, for better or for worse, a feminine gay boy. But it's one of those things, right, where I'm like, spent my childhood as a boy, but I feel like I grew into a woman. And for me, that makes perfect sense. So I guess for me, it's become a culmination of my life experiences as both, a young boy and a grown woman that a non-binary trans label and they them pronouns feel the most kind of integrative and inclusive for me.
You spoke about working in the industry, and off camera, you've also talked about your success as an actor, actress. And can you touch a little bit more on now what your gender experience is?
So for me, and this is just me personally, it's and some of it might come from I'm also adopted, so I am of Asian ethnicity. My parents are white, so for my whole life, I was always very visually and obviously other, and people would make a lot of assumptions based on their realm of familiarity. And so I became very accustomed to, I guess, what we call teaching moments, right? Where it's like, I could respond to a microaggression such as, do you ever want to find your real parents? It's like, well, my real parents are the people who raised me. Adopted people refer to their biological parents as birth parents or genetic parents. And I guess that also primed me as an actor in the entertainment industry to really clearly differentiate between, this is work that I do on a character. This is a fictional being that needs to seem real. And this is the actual actor person that goes home and pays their bills, right? So when it comes to my gender journey in the industry, I progressed from more generic casting, so anything Asian under 25, into much more specific niche casting as I booked more roles and sort of had more things on my reel and resume that reflected either what I was good at or what other people saw in me or believed me to be. It's funny. It's a little ironic that I booked more playing trans people as a feminine gay boy than I have as an actual trans person. And again, some of that just comes down to the creature that is casting and what the public is familiar with in terms of trans experiences.
How much responsibility do you think should be put on others to ask you pronouns or for you to tell others?
For me, it's like asking someone's name. I forgot your name. What's your name again? I forgot your pronoun. What's your pronoun again? Like, what's your name? What's your pronoun? Same thing to me.
How you dressed today, very beautifully. Is this normally how you would be dressed? I mean, not just in a dress, but this is you, correct?
Yeah. So yes, when I go to the grocery store, I might care a little bit less versus if I go to a different neighborhood or to an event or whatever. Because as a non-binary person, I like the mix and matching of it. I like my male biceps. But I like my hair like long and flowy and stuff too. So it's I guess when I think about it, it's sort of a gender pastiche of fashion.
And that's why I asked that question is you say that you do connect with they them pronouns. You are non-binary. So people that are watching this who haven't watched all the interviews might be questioning. So how does she connect with being non-binary?
For me, gender, there's a gender identity, right? Where something you feel inside that despite language's ability to help you out, you just feel it and you know. And then there's, the gender of a culture, the things that we gender, the tropes and stereotypes and roles that we perpetuate as appropriate or inappropriate given, the title that we assign you in life. And then there's, gender expression, how you interpret those cultural kind of mores and also how much you value them or consider them irreverent and how you play with them, either intentionally or subconsciously, right? So I guess for me, I would love it if there were just alternative language for everything that we know as binary. So instead,
How long have you gone by Nicky, and what does your name represent to you?
but yeah, I changed my name to Nicky professionally to call attention to the more androgynous nature of that name, even in its spelling, Nicky, instead of the more traditionally feminine Ikki. My full name is Nicholas, still Nicholas, and I feel like a Nicholas as well as a Nicky, so I keep that. But no, what's interesting is part of my choosing Nicky is that people were already calling me Nicky when I was, a gay boy. It's not like I was never a Nicky. It's just I kind of codified it as my SAG after name after I came out. But
Do you feel race plays into gender identity and acceptance of someone's gender?
yes, for sure I do. I think it's a good point to think about where, because maybe I just am into this because as an adopted person with white
Right.
parents, I have this weird mix of like intersectional oppression and privilege. Like my parents are white and middle class. They had to qualify to have a kid. They went through all the time and effort to qualify to be good parents for me and put me through school and give me like a healthy, wholesome Midwestern American upbringing. Um, and so, despite the bullying I endured my entire life and the discrimination and just the daily microaggressions of living in a culture that didn't understand me and not having access to, mentors, just people closeted for their own safety in that part of the country at that time and place. Despite all of that, I still had great parents, So and a lot of people don't get both of those worlds, or at least not to the degree that I did. I'm an oppressed intersectional person with a shit ton of white privilege.
Is there anything else that you would want to say to people listening?
My stamp on this beautiful project of yours, I guess I would like to put towards allyship, because as I said before, I feel very passionate about that. There's in feminine communities, feminist, femme-identified communities, and queer communities, especially in trans communities, safety is really important, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. And although I still believe that preserving and creating those safe spaces is important, I just think we all really need to work together. And in my personal experience, I guess having, being adopted or dating cis normative gendered man, I always try to be really inclusive. You know, if it's an Asian thing, I want my white parents there because they have an Asian kid. If it's a trans thing, I want my partner there, even though he's cis. Because it's one thing for us to love ourselves and to tell the world that we deserve love and respect. I think it's an additional, sometimes even more powerful thing for someone from an opposing group, not opposing as in different, but the oppressive group, to also stand next to us and say, yeah, they do deserve love and respect, and I love and respect them. I think we need both.